Welcome to our Portuguese Table podcast. I'm Maria Lawton, the Azorean Green Bean.
And I'm Angela Simoes, and we're just two chicks dishing about Portuguese food, culture, and what it means to be Portuguese.
So grab a glass of vinho or un copo de café and join us as we talk about our favorite foods, reminisce about growing up Portuguese,
and interview some of our community's most successful chefs and food writers.
So sit down at our Portuguese table.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Our Portuguese Table. I'm Angela and Maria. How are you?
Hola, querida. How are you?
I'm good. It has been a while.
It has been a while. But you know what?
Summer break, but it's been busy.
We've been all busy. I mean, we'll talk about that on our own podcast. But Today we have a really special guest, don't we?
We do. I'm so excited, actually. So we have Alexander Dias, who is the founder of Ginja 9. And if you haven't heard of Ginja 9, it's a new brand, a new label. We'll have Alexander explain it, of Ginjinha. And I first had Ginja 9 at an event here in San Jose. It was the farewell event for Nuno Matias, our outgoing consul. And I have to say, and Alexander, I hope you take this as a compliment, because I've never really been a fan of Ginjinha, but I tried Ginja 9 and it was actually pretty good. So welcome, Alexander. We're so excited to have you with us and hear your story.
Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So why don't we jump right in and tell us a bit about yourself and how you got interested in doing Ginjinha and then bringing this brand to market, and just give us the background.
Yeah, sure. So first, my background, I was born in the United States in the East Coast, Fall River. My dad went there for college and he took my mother with him. So I stayed there for 5 years. When he was done with college, he went back to Portugal with my mother. So I was raised there. And interesting or not, my brother was the first one to move to the United States. My dad used to joke a lot that I was made in Portugal, born in the United States. My brother was made in the United States, born in Portugal. And funny or not, he was actually the first one to move to Los Angeles. He's a video editor. And I used to come here to visit him during summer to LA. And after a few years, 3 or 4 years, he and my mother were able to convince me to move with him. In LA, actually was living in Burbank. It was a crazy transition for me. All my life was in Portugal. I was not familiar at all with the culture and with the lifestyle here of the United States. Mm-hmm. And I didn't move in a very good period of time in terms of the economy. I moved in 2008, 2009 when everything crashed.
Oh my.
So, yes.
How old were you then, Alexander?
I was 32.
You were 32
then. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I just turned 40. So that was 80 years ago. In August will be 80 years exactly when I moved to LA. So it wasn't easy, leaving everything behind, but I cannot say that I regret it at all. In the meanwhile, I got married here. We just had a baby 4 months ago.
Oh, congratulations. Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. So I have 2 babies, Ginja 9 and Tiago.
Right.
Started almost at the same time. So going back to Ginja 9, I used to work for JP Morgan Chase as a business banker. And in my portfolio of clients, I had all different types of business owners. And Portugal, I would say in the past 5 years, has become a very trendy destination for North American tourism. So I had several customers going to Lisbon, and they would ask me what to do there, what to eat, where to visit. And every time we would come back, they would be fascinated by the culture, by the food, by the lifestyle, all the tradition and history that we have in Europe, that unfortunately we don't have that kind of history in the United States. Another thing they were coming and asking me for was for Ginja. They couldn't say Ginjinha, they would say Ginja. And the first guy, this was probably more than 3 years ago, that my first customer came and asked me about it. And I was even surprised that he could say the name Ginja because for them it's not easy. A lot of them say Ginja, or it's not an easy word.
Right.
And for who doesn't know, Ginja is the name of the sour berry. That's what it means in Portuguese. And that's one of the reasons we kept the name as well, because it's such a huge history and tradition, you cannot really change it. Although a lot of marketing companies advise me to change the name because it's not very easy. But that's another story. But continuing with the beginning of Ginja 9. So that gentleman, he came back asking for us, and he knew I was Portuguese, of course. I told him, don't worry, there's so many Portuguese markets in the US. I'll find you a bottle or two and then I'll send it to you. So I did my research and I couldn't find anything in the market, even in the East Coast back then. And I was kind of shocked. It's such a Portuguese icon when you go, especially to Lisbon. It's almost like a tradition to have one. And it's all the touristic guides and everything. Then another customer went there, asked me for the same thing. After the fourth one, I was like, okay, there's something here. People enjoy this and they want it.
Yeah.
So I started doing research. Why wasn't it here? What was the motive? Because we have a lot of other Portuguese delicacies in the market, like different kinds of wines and aperitifs and all that. It was a little odd for me that Ginja wasn't here. So I found out that the reason in the beginning was this Ginja started actually as an ancient recipe for the Portuguese monks from the 17th century. In the central region of the country, there was a high abundance of the fruit. And because you cannot eat it, it's so sour. The monks, they were amazing back then. They invented beer and all that. They knew also had their fun. So they infused the cherries in alcohol. And that's how Ginja started. So it went from generation to generation. People would just do it in their backyard. You know, Portuguese people love to plant their own stuff. They have their own tomatoes, their own chickens, their own olive oil, their own wine, like my grandparents and all that. You know how it is. We love to have our own thing. It's our own ego. Oh, I made this. I did this.
Isn't that the truth? That is spot on.
Yeah, that's how we are, and that's amazing. So there was not enough production even to fulfill the country. Although in the recent years, I don't know how this started. I tried to research. They don't really have a name for the person who invented it. But as soon as they invented Azorean in the chocolate cup, this became very trendy. And the search and the look for it just really jumped to different numbers. So it started being a real business, and companies start producing it more and more and more. So I looked for the biggest and the best producers of ginger in Portugal. And the other issue that we had was the label. Their label, although their product is probably the best product in Portugal, it's from a producer called Lawton. Their label really wouldn't appeal to the US market. So with them, in conjunction with them, we developed this new label, Ginja 9. So we kept the name Ginja, and the 9, as you can see in the label, as a heart. The 9 represents peace and love. That's why we have the heart there.
I love that. We were talking about this before you came on, and that is, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but that crafted by hand, but made with love. That is perfect. I love that.
Yeah, that's Portugal. We really, we are so crafty with everything we make, and our products have such a high quality. It is a shame that the world we cannot share with the world everything we make there, because it's not just ginger. We have amazing wines. We have amazing olive oil. We have amazing jams. But unfortunately, we're a small country, and then to fulfill a market like the United States, it's a big task. And most of these companies are not prepared for that, and they don't even have the space to do it. I was very fortunate because Lawton, they are really investing They have a huge amount of land. I think they have more than 25,000 ginger trees right now and 20,000 acres of land. So they are exporting already to all over the world. So they are prepared for this. Otherwise, I couldn't have done it. And it's so, I'm so grateful that I can share a little piece of Portugal, a little of our love. So that's why they made with love and then the heart. So that's the beginning of Ginger Nine. That's really how it started. Was almost by accident. Had no idea how the alcohol industry worked. I was in a completely different field, and now here I am. I'm no longer with JP Morgan. I'm dedicated 100% to Ginger Nine and sharing it to all the Portuguese community and to all the Americans. And the feedback has been amazing. We were this weekend, for example, at the Hollywood Bowl, a huge event. There was probably like around 20,000 people there. We were in the VIP area doing tastings with Ginger Nine on the chocolate cup and also with the mojitos. So we started, our first shipment arrived in the US in December. So although this idea started 3 years ago, we've been in the market, I can say, since January, because that's when really we start going to stores and showing the product and doing tasting.
Now, are you now strictly in the West Coast or are you coming out to the East Coast?
So currently we are only in the West Coast. We will go to the East Coast definitely because there's a huge Portuguese community there.
Yes.
We are looking for a distributor. We'll be making some contacts. And I think shortly we will be there. Also, we will go to Oregon.
Oh, great.
Portland. Portland is a very amazing city when it comes to crafty beverages, crafty spirits in this case. So this will be fantastic for Ginger Nine because something very unique. In a way, it's good that there's no competition. Although it's very hard to explain to someone when they ask, so what it tastes like, because there's nothing like this in the market. You have the typical cherry liqueur, but this is not your regular cherry liqueur because it's made out of sour cherry. Another thing very important is that I didn't mention, this is 100% natural product. I don't know if you guys are on the website.
I am. I'm right on it right now.
Great. Awesome. So, and the reason is the only thing they do is they infuse the berries in a natural alcohol solution of rice and cereal, and they sit there for 12 months, around 1 year. So the color that you see from ginger is the color from the fruit. So there's no added colors or preservatives. It's an amazing product. And cherries, if you Google sour cherries, they're very good for your body. They do a lot of good stuff for you. I don't want to get into that.
Well, for those that are listening and you want to go onto the website, it's ginja9.com. It's GINJA9, the number 9.com. And on it, it has a G9 mojito recipe on how to make this mojito that sounds amazing. I could go for that right now.
Well, there's the mojito and the margarita.
The mojito is our flag right now. Everywhere that we go, the mojito. And the mojito came because it's a very traditional thing in Portugal, and it does work there because we sell it in little kiosks and people form lines of like 30, 40 minutes, and there's a lot of them served per day. But if you at home, there's a limited amount of chocolate that you're going to eat, right? You're not going to eat 2 or 3. You can also have it on the rocks. That's actually my favorite way. I love to sip on it when it's nice and chilled. But we figured out that we needed some cocktails, especially to penetrate the market when it comes to restaurants and bars, all that side beside the retail, beside the market. So the mojito, actually, our producer in Portugal, they're doing the same thing with a different name as well. They call it the Americão. Um,
Imagine that.
Yeah, interesting name.
Uh-huh.
Well,
So
this is, and of course, now I'm sorry, and now I'm going on where it's available because I'm going to be going to the West Coast in a couple of weeks. And I'm already thinking, I know I'm going to be at Bacalhau Grill and they have it there. And I'm also looking at the different like little spots where I'm going to be in San Jose. I'm
Yeah, we gotta
really,
pick them up.
I'm going to be picking this up. That is a no denying it now. I cannot wait to have this.
I love that you did bring in the cocktail aspect because, so this is something that Maria and I talk about with our guests all the time is, bringing Portuguese food and beverages to the mainstream requires a little bit of creativity and catering to that market, right? And so then there's the debate about like, oh no, do you just keep it pure and don't mess up a good thing? But you know what? Like times change, things change, people want new and different things, and so the idea of taking the ginginha and creating a mojito or the margarita or the martini, I mean, I think it's brilliant, and it's raising awareness of this awesome drink. So someone might have the mojito, like it, and then decide, well, I'm going to try the ginginha just, straight out, just to see if I like that. So it's like a good entree, right? So no, I think I think it was brilliant. And I love your packaging. I love the fact that you stayed with the ginja name.
Yeah, too.
Because it's what do they call it? Like a not the obvious, but like the self-explanatory name. Like it's a name that says what it is versus some like funny name that has nothing to do with what it is, and you have to explain it even more. So no, I think you've done an excellent job here, and the presentation of it, the color, it's so well done. I mean, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I love the heart bottle. I want to buy a heart bottle just to have on display in our bar.
Yeah. So we're actually in a month we'll have that heart bottle, and there's another one like in a shape of an inverted cone into the market. But going back to the mojito is what it's gonna put the ginger name into the United States. The feedback from the mojito is outstanding. It's such a different flavor, very, very refreshing. You pretty much don't feel the alcohol, but you have two mojitos and you are a little buzzed because there's rum, yes, and the ginger. So it has 3 ounces of alcohol. That is a lot. But yeah, the every time we go into a show, we did the Cuban American Festival, I believe, like 3 weeks ago. There were like all kinds of different booths, Cuban booths, by the way, and we were with the Portuguese. That was so interesting. We were with the Portuguese product and a Cuban festival, but the organization tried the mojito in another festival, and they were like, "This is a mojito. I don't care. You got to be there. This is phenomenal."
That's awesome.
So we served 700 mojitos that day in 5 or 6 hours. We were the busiest booth. They were serving Cuba Libres, daiquiris, tequilas, margaritas. Our line was like 30, 40 minutes all day. It was such an amazing feeling. It was like a proof of concept. It's like, okay, people really like this because they're buying it. You're not just giving it away.
Right.
That is awesome. I mean, the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I know you're just...
thing,
no, go ahead. Yeah.
The other product. So we have that for bars, restaurants, and on the retail side. If you go to our shop page, if you see the gift set, that gift set is also very, very popular with the bottle and the chocolate cups. People love to go to a dinner party or to a social gathering and show up with that. That creates curiosity from their guests because people are not aware. Most of the people are not aware what ginger is. So yes, it's been an adventure. It's not been easy. Right now, we don't have a distributor. We are doing it ourselves. It's a very, very tough industry to get in. It's very controlled. I had no idea in the beginning when we got into this, but that's how business is. You start looking and finding. But we've just been a few months in business, and things now are opening. We've been doing a lot of great contact for Ginger 9 and try to get then a distributor and have it in the main source. Because we're trying to do the problem with the Portuguese, and you mentioned that, Angela, the problem with the Portuguese product is you have so many amazing products like we mentioned before. But the thing is, they give the product to a distributor. They don't change the label, comes still with a Portuguese label. That doesn't mean anything to the common American here. Looks at it, has no idea what he's staring at. It's not appealing sometimes. And they just put it in a shelf. And it just stays there getting dust. And what is going to happen again? That retail chain, that market, whoever it is not going to order again. And the product can be amazing, but it didn't really have a chance. So what we're trying to do with Ginger 9 is trying to go the longer route, the right one, that it started with a private label. We completely changed the label, tried to make it appealing to the US market. And now what we're doing is, for the past 5 or 6 months, we are at every festival, every trade show, every private event that makes sense for us to create brand awareness. So when it's the right time, then we'll go to a Trader Joe's, then we'll go to all foods. It's amazing. The first time when someone sees me, oh, are you at Trader Joe's? Are you? No, it doesn't work that. I can put Ginger 9 there, but Trader Joe's probably will not they won't put another order because probably they'll sell 1 or 2 bottles because people are not aware of this product.
Right. The whole market, the whole Portuguese market. And I think this is, again, something that Angela and I talk about a lot of times when we're not being recorded. And that is the time is now. It really is, Alexander. And just hearing you talking about it, it just kind of puts into perspective what Angela and I are always saying. And that is the time is now for Portugal. I think now more than ever before in my lifetime here, that anything Portuguese is being looked at as, oh, I want to know more about that. But it is educating. It is educating and re-educating, and sometimes educating our own. Because some of our own don't understand what ginger is, or they don't understand what something else is because they didn't grow up with it, or it was a different part of whatever, or they heard about it, but they haven't had it in so long. So it's now their children or their grandchildren who are Portuguese, who maybe some of them haven't gone back to Portugal or aren't aware of what ginger is. It's constantly that re-educating and educating and educating and educating. And I really do think the time is now in promoting all things Portuguese. It really is.
I can give you an example. I had 3 or 4 calls in the past week of friends, ex-colleagues, people that I know, that they have someone going right now to Portugal, and they're asking me, what should I do there? What should I eat? What is the best thing to see? It's amazing. I've never seen this before. Portugal is really trendy right now. And like you were mentioning, everything from Portugal creates, it's appealing right now. Portuguese products, they're very appealing and people see them in a different way. It is amazing. It's fantastic. And we definitely should take advantage of that because 7-8 years ago, for example, when I got here, people had no idea pretty much where Portugal was. They thought I was from Brazil. A lot of times I was.
We still run into that. We still have that problem.
We still have that problem, Alexander.
But not as much, especially here in LA. I haven't encountered someone for a while now that would confuse me with being Brazilian. Actually, they know the difference. They actually mention, oh, you guys speak the same language in Brazil, but with a different accent. And I'm shocked. That's exactly correct. We are on the map now, to be honest with you. We are there, and we should definitely cultivate and try to bring more Portuguese products to the market. and really every day, if you go to Business Insider, if you go to the travel website, Portugal is everywhere, like the 10 top destinations to go, the what to do in Lisbon. I actually stopped. I used to do that a lot on my Facebook, share those links. Now
Yes.
it's almost like boring because everyone is doing it. There's so many of them out there. It's fantastic. It's so good to see that.
And Anthony Bourdain just did another episode of his show in Porto.
Yeah, in Porto.
So, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I hear you. So much like you, Alexander, I have a lot of friends or, coworkers that say they're going to Portugal and where should they go. So I'd actually drafted this whole email about, okay, you go here on this day and then take this train. And, here's how to, order a coffee and here's some of the food. And so now what I do, that's like my email. I just keep forwarding that same email to like everybody who asks, because there's no need to rewrite it, right? So that's become my
Angela's
personal travel guide.
Now, one of the things you're saying and that we've also said is the hard work it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I personally, I need to ask this question. We ask this question of everyone, but what does it mean to you, Alexander? What does it mean to you of being Portuguese? What does being Portuguese mean to you?
That's my roots, and all my family. It's such we as Portuguese, we have a different mindset from most of other countries. The way our culture is how can I put this in a nice way? Because we are the way we are raised in Portugal is like, and I think my mother tried to avoid that, but there's no way that we could get away with my grandmother and my grandfather from both sides. Is like, we're always trying to be perfect and always to be the best at what we do. And we're always in competition with your neighbor to see you. But at the end, what I'm trying to say is we are very proud of what we do and what we have in Portugal. No matter what happens, how insignificant it is, if something happens in Portugal, you always try to share with your friends, listen, this happened there. So we are very proud of our nation. And it's such a little country that achieved so much. We cannot forget what we accomplished back in the 1500s, even before that, with all the discoveries. Like, we really conquered the world. Unfortunately, we had no means or the power to keep all those colonies. We were definitely on top of the world back then. And I think that just follow our culture all the way to our days. We had some dark periods with a dictator, and I think that really affected us, especially in the last 100 years. I think Portugal could be in a much better place. Now, where we are right now, we probably would have been like 40 years ago if we didn't have a dictator. But that's history. But I'm so proud to be Portuguese and to tell people. I could actually say that I'm American, but if you know me and the people are around me, when they ask me where I'm from, I say I'm Portuguese. I didn't even say I was born in Fall River. That comes after when they asking me if I'm a citizen or I said citizenship. But yeah, I'm there. I was raised there. That's when I was fine.
What is that line? Born in USA with Portuguese parts. Isn't that what they say it?
Yep, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's in your DNA.
Definitely. And now it's so easy to maintain contact also with Portugal, with FaceTime and Skype and all that. So you're pretty much, my mother is still living there and my family. So, and now with the baby, we're almost every day FaceTiming. So yeah, my roots are very, very, very Portuguese. And my Portuguese is still it's perfect. I speak better Portuguese than I speak English. So
your parents are still there?
Unfortunately, I lost my dad already.
I'm sorry.
At a very young age. But yeah, my mother is still alive. in great shape. I still have my family there, grandparents from my mother's side,
Oh, how
and
beautiful.
uncles and cousins and all that.
Now,
Yeah.
how often do you go back, Alexander?
I try to go at least once a year. I was there last year, but it's not easy to go every year. And now I really wanted to go there this year. I don't think I can make it because being a business owner, as the name can be, or an entrepreneur now, as they like to call it, it can be, or it can seem that it's very cool, but it puts a lot of hours work. You never stop. It's not like you're getting from your 8 to 5 home and that's the end of your day. No, sometimes the end of your day is at 2 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes
Right.
in a weekend you travel 800 miles or 1,000 miles. Sometimes I used to joke with my wife, I'm a truck driver now because we put so many miles. I'm all over the place. But when you do it with passion and when you really believe in your product and the quality, I think that's the key for it. If you're really getting involved as a business owner in something, you need to be passionate about it. Otherwise, it's not going to work because it requires so many sacrifices, especially now that we have the baby. I wish I could spend more time with him. But I can't. But on the other side, you get all this amazing feedback in putting a Portuguese product out there. I honestly really do it with a passion.
Right. It's funny. It's funny when people see businesses succeed or that are just doing well, something new. It's wonderful. People only see the outcome of all your hard work. They don't know how much of a hard work it is. And it comes with a lot of sacrifices. And whether it's sacrificing things at home or sacrificing things that you'd want to be able to do or can do for the sake of what you're passionate about. And that is the business. And that is your baby. You're absolutely right when you said you had 2 babies. It has to be. And but from all of that hard work, the outcome is going to be worth it. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You really need to be committed because people usually, when you're successful, they just see the tip of the iceberg. They don't see the entire foundation, what it took you to get there. I can give you a pretty good story from, I don't know if you heard of Tito's Vodka. Tito's Vodka they're probably selling 8 million cases a year. He was just offered $2 billion for his company, but he loves it. So he said no. George Clooney just sold his tequila company too for $1 billion. But George Clooney tequila is not his business. But going back to Tito's started more than 20 years ago, and only now he is popular. So times now are different with social media and other stuff. I would not say it takes 20 years now, but it does take a long time. And people think when I talk to some people that are in this industry, oh, Tito's just showed up and they're so good. And I was like, I start laughing. No, Tito's showed up 20 years ago. He was the first guy to be able to get a distillery in Texas. That's really, really hard to get all the licenses to be to alcohol, to be an importer and distributor and all that. It's very hard. So for you to have an example, I started almost with all this 3 years ago. It requires a lot of time, a lot of investment, and your weeks, they kind of look like 80 hours of work per week on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So you really need to be passionate when you get into a business. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And another thing is sometimes you feel very lonely if you don't have a partner. Yes. You have those fantastic days that everything goes right, that, oh, yeah, that meeting was awesome. Yeah, we closed that deal. And then you have the other days, every single door is closed. It's closing in your face, and you get all those no's, and you think, oh my God, what am I doing here? Is this the right thing? So there's a lot of doubt. So you gotta be strong. You gotta really believe and go with passion.
And let's just stay on that for a second, because I actually am totally going through that exact thing right now, where you're getting a lot of no's. I mean, I just went to a booth to sell one of my products, or to an event to sell one of my products. I didn't sell one, and it's a lot of effort. Like you said, it's time away from the family. It's money that you've sunk into this thing and you're not getting it back. And so now maybe you're having a hard time paying your bills, right? That kind of thing. So for others out there that might also be either having a hard time like this, or that's what keeps them from doing it, right? Like, I have this idea, but I'm so afraid. I don't know that I could handle that kind of stress. What would be, I mean, so you've said you have to be passionate, but like, sometimes I think, I don't know if people really understand what that means, like when you're passionate about something. And so then where do you find the encouragement or the strength to keep going when you have 100 doors closed in your face? And then, maybe it's the 101st or the 102nd that's going to say yes, but after 100 no's, how do you find that strength?
You got to go back to the fundamentals of the business and why you're doing it. And you got to think always that you're not going to please everyone. It would be amazing, but we can't. There's so many great products out there, very successful, and they have only a percentage of the market, because thank God we are all different. We all share different opinions. We have different tastes. Sometimes you're at that place that, unfortunately, you got most of those people that don't their taste is different, or they don't feel connected to your product. Right. It's hard, it's really hard. And thank God with Ginger 9, I don't care when a door closes, the business owner comes with an excuse, this or that. I know he's just finding excuses because the product is not known. But I get and it really touches me. And sometimes my wife tells me, you cannot take this so personal, when someone tries it and doesn't like it. Really said that more than anything. And I'm just doing a tasting. I'm not even selling. That's what affects me the most. But I need to understand that some people love codfish, bacalhau. Some people
don't, right? Yeah, exactly.
It's like even shrimp. Shrimp, for example, for me, or lobster. How can you not like lobster? My brother hates it. So that's a great example. Right. It's a delicacy. It's something so amazing, so tasty. How is it possible for someone else to like? But there's a lot of people out there that they don't like seafood at all. So you got to think like that. It's going to hit you. We are human. We're humans, and it's impossible not to not pay attention to it, or it's going to hit you, but you got to make it fast. Okay. Just put it in your back, and that's it. Next. Let's move forward.
That's
it.
Because
otherwise, you're just going to start thinking about that. You're not going to be productive. It's just going to affect you in a really bad way when it shouldn't.
Go downward spiral, and then it's hard to get out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Just go back to be on track, be positive, and continue your work, your good work, and things will happen. And there's so many opportunities. Sometimes you just need that one door open. 100 can be closed. You just need Starbucks. The guy went to 200 banks for a loan. 200. Can you imagine? 200 he was denied. Look at Starbucks now. So that's just so. And there's so many stories out there that it's incredible. You just got to be persistent, and you got to believe that your product will make it. The only tough part is when people don't have a great product and they think it is great. That's when things are a little bit different. But
and that's when you need somebody that's honest and that's going to tell you, this may have been a good idea in theory, but I don't think it's really going to work out because, your family members, oh yeah, it's great. Sure. Go ahead. And it's like sending you off to get,
that's horrible.
Lions.
Yeah. You should never rely on your family members' opinion or your friends when you're starting a business. You should go out there to who doesn't know you, do a tasting or do whatever you're doing, or provide a service, do a complimentary, and then get the feedback from it. And then you'll see the percentage. 50 people like it, 100%
That's
like
a great
it,
advice.
and then you get it from there. But unfortunately, I see also entrepreneurs out there that it's their product or what they're doing, the type of service, doesn't have a need or doesn't really improve anything or the tradition or history. Those are the components for success. You need to have a story for your product. You need to have quality, and you need to be appealing. If you have those three combined, that's perfect. Sometimes you only have one. Sometimes you just have quality. How many wines out there, how many products that we see that the label is really crappy, but the product quality is outstanding. So you're going to buy it anyway. It doesn't really matter how does it look. But when you can combine those three, that's the recipe for success. So you got to look for that. And I'm very blessed that this pretty much landed on me, this ginger concept, because I couldn't believe in the beginning that no one really was doing. There was a ginger there. I don't even think they're in the market because I've been going to where we're selling right now. I haven't seen it for a while. And that they made the mistake that most of Portuguese companies do. And the label is not appealing. They didn't do any type of brand awareness. They simply just put it on the shelf and prayed that the customers were going to pick it. So they were actually in bath mode. I had no idea. I think I found out about like 2 or 3 months ago about it. They were in bath mode, but of course they're no longer in bath mode. They said for a short period of time because there was no brand awareness. You need to have people doing tastings there. That's another hard thing because it's a spirit. There's most of the places you cannot do tastings. And for it to be successful, you need to do tastings because people have no idea what it is. It makes it a lot harder. If I was selling, I don't know, cod or olive oil or a spread, ginger nine probably be in a much better stage because you can go to any market and do a tasting. There's no problem. But with spirits and alcohol,
right, you're limited to that.
Very, very, very limited. If it was wine or beer, it'd be easier. But it falls under the category of spirits, and for them, spirits it's hard liquor, it's vodka or it's gin or rum. So you cannot do a lot of tasting because of that. But that's one of the things. You just need to know how to go around it, and it'll take a little bit more time.
Yeah. Now, one of the other questions we always have to go back to food. When you, because this show really, we're just sitting at a table here. We're all just sitting and just talking about what it is to be Portuguese and all the things that we love about it. And one of the things, of course, is our food. And when you go back to Portugal and you go visit your mom, what is your favorite dish? What do you say, please make this for me?
My favorite dish, and it's the favorite dish my mother makes. It's actually not my favorite dish. I'm very basic when it comes to I love French fries. I love Portuguese French fries.
But that's the specific
it's
Portuguese
the
food. Yes.
If I go to Portugal, I need the bitoque. That egg, that steak, that French fries. Oh my God, I love that. Just that taste right now in my mouth, I'm having goosebumps. I love that. But my mother makes a dish with cod. I don't even know how to say it. It's called empadão. I don't know how to translate it.
Empadão.
It's an empadão of codfish with salad on the side. And that is the most amazing dish.
So what's in it?
So there's codfish, then so empadão, you make it with whatever it can be with meat, it can be with fish, seafood, and then you put eggs, you mix everything, that it goes to the oven. I don't know exactly the recipe. What's the translation for empadão?
It almost sounds like I hate to say it, but like an omelet that you would make with leftovers. Like you just kind of put everything.
No. If my mother listens to this, she's gonna kill me because it's something very elaborated that uses a type of dough it's like a crispy type of dough.
Oh.
Like an
Yeah.
empanada.
Yeah, it's like an empanada, but it's the empanada. What it's outside the crust is hard. Do you know that, like you have in a croissant, that kind of dough, but it's not
Yes.
sweet. It's crispy, like you have in the natas.
Yes.
Okay. So it's like a phyllo dough.
No, it's
a phyllo
Yeah.
dough.
Oh,
Phyllo
phyllo.
dough. That's what it is. That's what it is. I couldn't remember the name. So she does it in the phyllo dough with a salad on the side, and that is just amazing. It just melts in your mouth when you cut it. It cracks. Oh, it's an amazing. I think it takes like a few hours to make it. It's very elaborate, but my mother is an amazing cook.
It almost sounds like a bacalhau pot pie or something. You know, like sometimes you can like wrap a whole brie cheese in phyllo dough and you bake it. But I'm trying to think of another.
Yeah. So yeah,
dish.
she pretty much that's what she does.
Okay.
And then it's wrapped on the phyllo dough. It's amazing. It is really something. I need to.
Maybe we can get the recipe from her and we can share it with our listeners.
Yep. I do a lot of stuff for my mother, like arroz polvo, amêijoas à bolhão pato.
Oh, nice.
I like to go. Yes, I like to go to the kitchen, and then I actually did it like 2 or 3 days ago. Shrimp, camarão no alho, like you fry it, you put it in a pan, and you saute it, and on olive oil, a little bit of garlic.
Garlic shrimp is
pepper.
delicious.
Yes, and then the little secret ingredient is like after it's nice and crispy, the shrimp from both sides, you add a little bit of beer and you just let it boil there for 2 or 3 minutes.
A little bit of what?
Beer.
Beer.
Oh, beer. Yes.
Yeah. It's amazing. And made the sauce, and then you dip a little bit of bread in that sauce. Oh my God. That's Portugal right there.
Yes, that is a little
back.
So, Alexander, is there anything that you don't like or that you won't eat that's Portuguese as far as food is concerned?
I'm not a big fan of that. What is it called? A galinha com arroz de sangue.
Oh, yes, I don't care for that. No.
Yes.
Arroz cabidela, is that what it's called?
Arroz cabidela. There you go. Yeah. I can't really do that. But rather than that, I know we also have a few great dishes with rabbits. I'm not a big fan of those as well. But rather than that, I'm a big fan of everything else. Carne alentejana, leitão assado, bacalhau à brás.
We've had a few people on the show say that like dobrada or tripas or something they're not a fan of.
Oh, I love that.
Really? Oh God.
Yeah. Dobrada is delicious. I love the consistency of it, that texture of dobrada.
And I think that's what turns most people off, actually, is the texture of it.
Yeah. I think you needed to be used to it. And my grandmother would make it very often when I was a kid. I would love to eat that. So I think it just stayed with me. But if you're not raised having it, then as an adult, I can see it being a little funny.
Well, I'm just thinking here, Alexander, this is just now my thought. Of course, we're talking about food and then we're talking about your liqueur that you make, the ginja. I know, and before you were saying how we're all so proud when we make our own things. Well, of course, I grew up making liqueurs, except for ginja. We did not make ginja, but I made liqueurs, lemon and orange and, coffee liqueur and tea liqueur. I mean, anything kind of liqueur you could think of, we would make. And I still do. But I'm thinking we need to do like, where you have the recipes for cocktails. What you need to do is a pairing of Portuguese food.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
That ginja would complement, because sometimes when I go visit my family and we'll start having a fish dish of sorts, whether it's octopus or if it's, sea bass, a roasted sea bass. And then in between our eating, all of a sudden liqueurs come out of the word. They just land all of a sudden in our table. And it's usually like a lemon liqueur, an orange liqueur. And then we're having that in the middle of our dinner before we go into our next, dessert or what our next little thing. It's like our little appetizer before our food. Does that make sense? So
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I think that'll be another great thing to join together.
Yes, it's interesting that you mentioned that. I love, Adega, the restaurant in San Jose.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I know very well the chef, one of the chefs, Jessica and David. So David Costa, he is doing a dessert. They have it on their menu with ginger. So we actually, they cannot sell spirits, but he's doing a dessert with gingerine and using the berries and as dessert. I haven't had a pleasure to try it, but it tells it's very popular.
Well,
that's interesting. But I can ask him what he thinks that ginger will pair with. Then we'll have an opinion from a professional with a Michelin star.
Oh God! And that is one of the places I'm going to be cooking with is there too. I am like so excited.
Oh my God, that's awesome!
Yeah, I'm just so excited. I can't wait. So I'll have ginger in 2 weeks, Angela?
Yeah, pretty much.
In 2 weeks I'll be there. So
great. So yeah, he has from the. Yeah, make sure right now that you have it chilled because it's hot, so it does taste better. Opens the flavors and the aroma.
Okay.
Because it's really hot now.
Yeah.
So
that's another thing that we do. Also, we try to serve it always chilled.
Yeah. So Alexander, we are coming up on our time, which is always amazing to us that we can fly through an hour.
Has it been that time already?
It's pretty close, yeah.
Wow.
But before we go, so I know that you've been on the market, technically only since January, and I see on your website that you do have the new heart themed bottle coming out, which is awesome. But what is what's on the agenda for you guys for the rest of the year, and then anything that we should be looking out for that you want to share with our listeners?
Yes, absolutely. So we have that bottle coming in another shape of bottle. Those are considered the gourmet bottles, and they're great to buy and have them as a gift. Also, the gift set for the holidays, and that pretty much will be in the market in a month or so. That's when the container is going to arrive to LA. But right now, we're doing, and besides all the festivals and the food shows. A lot of people don't know, but we have done quite a events so far. Events with 3,000, 5,000 people in LA. There's one coming right now that is called the Brunch Con. If you are in LA, it's a must go. There will be probably around 60 to 70 vendors there, and you just pay the entrance. And everything is free there. It's tastings of all different types of the best restaurants in LA, the best spirits, the best beers, and they're expecting 5,000 people. So that's a huge event. We are also going to be in San Francisco in an event that is very known and popular there. Should have around 3,000 people.
What's it called?
Those are the two major. It's called the Latin Food Fest. They have it in LA and they have it in San Diego. We were on the one in LA. It was one of our first events, and that's when I realized that Ginger Nine really had a market.
Where is the Latin Fest going to be? Food Fest in San Francisco. When? When is that on?
No, I'm sorry. It's in San Diego. It's in San Diego. It's going to be, if I'm not wrong, August 18 and 19.
Okay.
In August. And then the Brunch Con is also in August, I believe, on the 8th.
Okay. We'll make sure we put that in our
Thank you. And then I'll confirm those dates as well, but I'm pretty sure that But now what we're doing that is most important than that is we're having a few meetings so we can get a few brand ambassadors so we can start going to the iconic bars in Los Angeles with a mojito recipe and other cocktails to see if they can start carrying ginger nine in their drinking menu. And we can see, we call it G9 mojito, so it's the abbreviation of ginger nine. And see if we can start seeing G9 mojitos in the most iconic restaurants and bars around LA in the near future. That's our goal right now.
That is
That'll
beautiful.
It's amazing.
Well, Alexandra, I can say I'm very proud of you. Being what you're doing, it is the epitome of who we are as being Portuguese, and that is being proud of who we are, promoting who we are, and what you're doing is just amazing, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you very much. That helps for the bad days, right, Angela?
Yes. No, exactly. Well, I absolutely echo Maria's sentiments. Where, when we see someone like yourself that has really fulfilled a niche and brought something so unique to the market, but is also working as hard as you are working to do that, and it's inspiring. And I just hope that it's inspiring for me, and I hope it's inspiring for our listeners, that it gives people the motivation to start that thing that they've been wanting to start for so long, but maybe their family hasn't been supportive or their friends have been discouraging, but they have to dig deep and find the motivation and belief in themselves that they can do it. So, I mean, when we see someone like yourself, we can't help but be so proud. And, we Portuguese are damn smart and damn creative.
Yeah, right. Damn right.
And
they're very creative. That's
yes, we are.
And
yes.
we have to celebrate each other. So, I mean, I hope to see you at that event in San Francisco, and anywhere that you're going to be, please let us know. And we're happy to let everybody know about it.
And I would just want to do a shout out here, because whenever you're in the business world, you cannot achieve anything on your own. You need help from friends, family, your network. And I've been very fortunate to been with the right people at the right time, and they've been supporting me a lot in all this journey so far. And one of them is very involved with the Portuguese community, and that's how I started. It was probably the first person that helped me to open the doors to the Portuguese community in the West Coast. There was Nelson Pontegraça. He's been outstanding.
Yep.
And I just want to leave a word of appreciation to him here, because when this started, of course, my first target in market was our beloved Portugal and all the Portuguese community here, the diaspora. And he was the one that opened a lot of doors, because everyone knows Nelson, and he's very committed and dedicated. He loves Portugal, especially as a source. So I thank him a lot for what he has done for me and for Ginger Nine.
Yes, and thank you for doing that, because I feel like we don't publicly thank those that have helped us often enough, even if we, are grateful to them, but putting it in a public forum like this is really great. And I know Nelson personally, and I know that he will be very, very touched by your words. So thanks for giving him a shout out. He's a really good person. And so is his wife, because, like they say, like your wife has been very supportive. Kathy is a saint.
She needs to deal with a lot of his.
Yeah.
he does not stop talking about someone that commits. I can't believe sometimes I was at this place, like when we were saying the farewell to Nunu, we had a long day, like 3 days, and everyone wanted to go home and relax. Now somebody does. He invites people again to his house. I was like, oh my God, poor Kathy. What is he doing?
I know.
Yeah, but he's like that. He's an amazing guy.
He is.
Very hard worker, yeah. And thank you so much for having me. I really was touched with the invite. So we can share a little bit of what we're doing here. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
You're so
welcome.
welcome.
We appreciate it too.
And congratulations on your success. And we hope that someday we will see you in Trader Joe's.
Yes, thank you.
There's no doubt he will be in Trader Joe's as well as anywhere else he wants to be. There is no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, everybody. So go to jinja9.com and pick up a bottle and go visit Alexander and his crew at the next event. And thanks, everybody, for listening. And if you haven't hit subscribe, click that subscribe button. I really don't know what you're waiting for. And please share the podcast with friends and family. Share it on social media. And please send us your feedback. We really love your feedback. And if it comes in the form of a review on iTunes or on SoundCloud, that is even better. So please do that. It actually will help people find us when they're searching for Portuguese podcasts to listen to. So thanks, everybody. Thanks again, Alexander. Thanks, Maria. It's good chatting, as always.
As always.
And até a próxima.
Thank you.
Até a próxima.
Abraço e beijinhos.
Abraço e beijinhos.
Ciao.
Ciao.
So is he super nice? And what a great idea, right? I mean,
it truly is, like I said before. I mean, the time is now to promote all things Portuguese, and he's done it. He's doing it, which is what we want, and what we want to see here at our Portuguese table. We want to see all of this and a success story even to boot. And it's going to get bigger.
Yeah. And what I love too is that he took a product that, when people go to Portugal and they taste it, it's one of their favorite things, right? Because there's specific places that sell it and they're famous for it. And it becomes popular when they're there. But then, making that translate to come across the pond and sell it and have a brand that people will, gravitate to, and, the whole cocktail thing. I mean, he's done a really great job of sort of translating it for the mainstream audience without losing the character that it's a Portuguese delicacy, right? I mean, so he's just done such a great job. I wish him the absolute best. I really hope that we're going to see him everywhere, because it's
exactly it. He's taking a product and he's thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Not doing the normal stuff that people normally do, the old way, and thinking of it a new way to hit a new market and a whole market that's never had it before and are like, oh my God, I got to have it. So how amazing is that? And that's what we want. That's what we want.
And like I said, he's inspiring. So I hope that he is serves as an example for a lot of people out there, because he's done a great job.
Yes. And for those that haven't heard us for a while, and we've been getting your messages saying, come on, guys, we miss you.
I know.
we've been listening to repeats. We apologize. But like we said in the beginning, we've been doing so many things, and we do this for love. And we actually haven't missed doing this. But, we haven't forgotten you guys. You're still there. You're still important.
And we're gonna ramp it up again, and we've got a whole bunch of other guests lined up to be interviewed. So get ready.
Yeah,
you asked for more episodes, so we're gonna have them for you. All right, Maria.
All right, querida. Até a próxima, querida.
Até a próxima.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks again for listening to our Portuguese Table podcast.
If you haven't subscribed yet, you can do so on SoundCloud or iTunes.
And all episodes can be found on our website at www.ourportuguesetable.com.
You can also reach us at feedback@ourportuguesetable.com with comments, questions, or suggestions.
Até a próxima!